Mikel Arteta and his team are on the brink of immortality at Arsenal, but 3 wins away from a famous Premier League and Champions League double. What are the chances of building a dynasty similar to that we've seen under Pep Guardiola at Manchester City? That was put to the Arsenal boss ahead of Monday's game with Burnley.
Nothing is done yet, no trophies are in the cabinet, but should that be the end result, do you feel the foundations here, Mikel, are for a dynasty? What I'm saying is it's very hard to win back-to-back trophies, it's very hard to do it. But do you sense that this club is in a space where Man City found themselves, that long-term you could go on and achieve that sort of...
When you see the trajectory and what we built in the last few years, and especially in the last 4 years in terms of consistency, the amount of points, wins, you should have a few trophies, big trophies already. That only happens in this league. But that drives you to be even better. So we still have to make that a step of finalizing the business. And that's the opportunity we have in the next 3 days. And then we'll have time to talk about the rest.
OK, Jay, so understandably, Arteta didn't want to be drawn on talking about a dynasty too much because they haven't got over the line as yet. But when you look at the profile of the squad, the age of the squad, how good the squad is, can you see it happening?
It's really difficult because you look at the other squads that are going to be competing against them every single year, and it's fine margins. You know, you look at Liverpool, I think they'll come back strong. Obviously, you've got Man City there that are strong right now. Man United are going to be strong. So we don't know if they're gonna you know, go on a dynasty, be a dynasty. But they're definitely going to be challenging for years to come because they've got a solid squad. They've got young players, and there still needs to be some improvements, I think, especially around the attacking areas. But there's no doubt about it. Arsenal are going to be in the conversation for years to come.
Well, 2 games to go in this season in the league. Can you see any way that they slip up?
Listen, if Arsenal slip up, they don't deserve to win the league. It's that simple. Burnley
at home and Palace away.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Burnley at home, that's unthinkable to even get a draw in that game. Arsenal have to go and win and dominate that game and win it in style. Crystal Palace maybe could be, you know, a bit tricky, especially because it's from home. But then you look at it and you say, are they going to rest players? Because they've got, you know, the Europa League, Europa League.
The final.
Yeah, final.
About 4 or 5 days later, isn't it?
Exactly. So that's the reason why I would say that they probably won't have all their, you know, starting players out playing in that game. So based upon that, you would say, yeah, Arsenal should go and win this league now.
When they lost to Manchester City, Arsenal, it looked like Manchester City would go on to win it. And OK, they still might. But how impressed have you been with the way Arsenal have dealt with that blow?
Yeah, I think that there's a few wobbles so far since Arsenal have dealt with it pretty well. I mean, there is games where you would look at it and say, you know, they could go and win that game. It didn't play well enough, but ultimately, Arsenal are in the driving seat still. Now you've let Man City, you know, kind of creep up on you, but they're in the driving seat. At the beginning of the season, if you said to Mikel Arteta, any Arsenal fans, you know, with 2 games to go, those 2 games are going to be Burnley at home and Crystal Palace away, everyone would take that. I think it's still been a good season, but I feel like Arsenal, again, like you said there, in order to go and really dominate, like City have, winning 4 Premier League titles back-to-back, that kind of domination, you need to have a really deep squad, and you need to have, you know, players that are, you know, some of the best in the world. I feel like with Arsenal, there still needs to be some improvements, especially depth-wise. But it's a fantastic season Arsenal's had still.
Do you think they're going to get over the line in the Premier League, Champions League?
Yeah, Premier League, yes. You know, my percentages this year have gone up and down.
What is it now?
My percentage now, I'm going 95%.
Right, OK, well, that's definitely the highest it's been. Go on then, Champions
Definitely the highest it's been.
Champions League against PSG?
Champions League's a tough one because, I mean, whoever turns up on the day and you know, plays at their best will win the game. But I do think it's going to be really hard for Arsenal to win that game. When I look at PSG's a team as a whole, I mean, we've seen them in the last game. They got a clean sheet. against Bayern Munich, and look at all the players they had on show. So, you know, they can be solid as well. But then when you look at their front three, and I feel like that's where Arsenal sometimes struggled, you know, when you have a press, you know, getting out of that press, beating that, can you beat the first press? I think when you look at Dembele's speed, Kvaratskhelia, him, Doué, the way they press you and at the speed at what they press you at, it makes defenders and goalkeepers a bit shaky, and it can make you make mistakes. And I feel like that is going to be the reason why I'm finding it difficult to say that, yeah, Arsenal will beat PSG. I think they've got a lot of quality in there as well. The work rate, but then the quality, Vitinha, you know, Neves in midfield, again, Doué, players like that. They've just like got an abundance of talent, and they're a quick team as well.
Well, you can see if Arsenal can take a step closer to winning the Premier League title.
To Mikel Arteta and Arsenal, because of what he brings to the side. I think defensively, he can do his job when he's in that back line, but he can also get forward, and he can also be a major problem. I've been impressed with the signing of bringing him in, and I know he's been a little bit stop-start for him since coming into the club. But you know, when he's fit, he's definitely he's first on the team sheet, and that's why Ben White's really struggled to find a formula of getting himself into that right back spot. But super player, and I'm sure that, you know, they'll want him fit for that big occasion.
And in terms of the squad, you know, everyone talked about their strength in depth this season. Is that what you've witnessed? That's what's been good about Arsenal?
I have. I felt that, you know, you look all over the pitch, and I've said this many a time this season, this is why I felt that they had the squad strength, they had the squad depth to really go and win a treble. And it was all also looking like it was going to happen, to be quite honest. You know, the defeat at Southampton was a disappointment, but I just think that, you know, you look all across the pitch, they've got really like-for-like players that they can utilise. Gyökeres, I mean, you know, he's come under a lot of criticism over the season, but you look at what goals he's contributed this season, it's a lot of goals he's scored. You know, his first season, I think he's had a great season. His work ethic and the style that Arsenal play, you know, lots of the times they've depended on Saka, they've depended on Martinelli, Trossard. I mean, he's stepped up. There's been so many players that have bought into what Mikel Arteta's brought to the football club, as in squad depth, because you can bring too many players in and you lose some of your players, whereas it just seems like everyone has stepped up to the plate for Mikel Arteta, and you have to give him credit. I thought that, you know, for me, over seasons going forward, this potentially could be an Arsenal winning side that could go on and really be amongst domination if they continue to do what they're doing, because I feel that he's just built something there. He's added squad depth. And all of a sudden you're looking around now, and obviously Manchester City did it time and time again. You know, the likes of Liverpool, I just feel like they're just edging away from them at the moment. And if he can get it right and win trophies this season, listen, I think that they've got every chance of going again because of what they've got. The potential they've got in that squad is absolutely magnificent. They could have two teams that could play in the Premier League. That's how much strength they've got in that squad. And they've got it in an integral part, which is in goal at the moment. How important has David Raya been for them this season? Magnificent. I mean, you think when you know, he was brought into the football club, and there was all questions over, you know, Ramsdale and how well he's done, and then you bring in David Raya, and you think to yourself, I mean, going back to that, where there was a lot of question marks around that because of how Ramsdale did. But I mean, looking at it now, it's an absolute masterstroke because of the way that Mikel Arteta likes to play. He's almost like a centre half to a certain extent, because he can play with his feet, and his save ratio is absolutely fantastic. I mean, the save he made against West Ham was outstanding, I must say, and sometimes that gets overshadowed, doesn't it, because of Arsenal being Arsenal. A fantastic goalkeeper that Mikel's witnessed. The recruitment's been good because they've realised that he fits the bill of how they want to play, the style they want to play. The long-term longevity that Mikel Arteta stamped on this club to take them forward is why I see the success if they can bring the right personnel in. Not that they need an awful lot now, but, you know, they might add to what they've got. They might get rid of a few that might just tweak the odd situation that might make them stronger. And that's where I think, you know, the building platform that they've had to do so, it's took a little bit of time, but I feel that Arsenal are just starting to get there, and I feel winning a trophy is going to be massive for them. That might just blossom this Arsenal squad and team to go and be a real success.